Hey, what's going on, guys? Back at it with another project. Got it right here in this tub. This is something I've been collecting parts for a while, and I was actually going to start this in like February sometime. This is before Ian contacted me about doing all the Hales restorations, and I actually created a thread on the RPF for it like back then, and I just kind of put all this on hold. So this is what I'm gonna pick it back up again and start on this, and let me show you what I got in this box. We got a Woodstock. This is a stain grade stock from Woodman. I got a Webley casting from Handshab. It's brass casting. I got an aluminum barrel with the little wings that go on the side. And this part came from Dave the Bookie. So these little guys, these little fellas just pop in there. They don't just stay on their own. We got to glue them in place later. That goes there. Got the scope. This is a real deal. This is a Model 7 original 4x20. That's going to go right there. T-tracks for the barrel. Going right there. I got some 3D printed stock greeblies. They're going to go on each side of the stock. They're pretty good. I've never been a fan of like 3D printed parts. Like they're getting better. Like the quality is getting better. It's getting smoother. But it's just not quite there for me yet. Even this has got like a bit of a grainy texture to it, which I wish it was totally smooth. But I know they've improved. I've got a friend who does 3D printing, and his stuff, it looks better than this. So I know it's getting there. It's just not there yet, at least not to what I want. Other stuff that's not seen that I do have here is I've got the Invisible V8 part. I have the Invisible V8 kit, so I'm going to be snatching those parts and making a casting of them and sticking them on each side. The triple ejector rack that goes on the side right here, which comes from the F4 Phantom, F4E Phantom model kit. I've got that kit as well, so I'm going to pull that part and make a casting of it. Another important part, and this is not something you can just go buy like off the shelf, is the little mounting blocks for the scope. One's going to go here, one's going to go here. They're not an off-the-shelf thing. It's something you got to fabricate. I think that they were probably just made from wood. I've tried to closely inspect the reference photos that I have, and it kind of looks like wood to me. I might make them out of wood. I might make them out of Delrin. Never worked with Delrin before, but that's something I've got to fabricate from scratch completely. And I've also got to drill the holes and tap the hole for threads so I can attach those. And then the other thing I got to do that is kind of annoying, and let me take this off, set that there, is the stock here has got a bit of a space problem here around the edge. And this is no knock on, Handshab for this or Woodman for the stock. I think what happens is this pattern is made for a real Webley, and so the real thing is a little bit bigger. When you make a metal casting of something, it's going to shrink just a little bit, but that's what I think is going on here. Is this is a little bit smaller because it's a casting, and so I've got to fill that because the real deal does not have that. The real prop is, well, the real prop is a big plastic thing. All right, so I just wanted to talk about the overall plan for this. I don't see a lot of the Return of the Jedi EE3, and that's what we're building here. There's not a lot of the builds, at least on the RPF. There maybe on the dented helmet, but I don't go there much. I actually have a thread on there for this that I started at the same time as the RPF one, but it got like zero traction, like nobody even looked at it. But most of the time you see people doing the Empire Strikes Back version, and I kind of get why, and I'll explain that here in a minute. The Return of the Jedi prop is ugly. Like, it is ugly. Now, I don't feel like the design is ugly. I feel like the design is very Star Wars. It looks the part, you know, like it's got that right Star Wars vibe to it. But I'm talking about the finish of the prop. You know, like they painted with all this splotchy different shades of gray. It's like 50 shades of gray on this thing, and then they like sponged on like this orange color, like they hired some basic bitch to do the weathering, you know, like they just sponged on this stuff. And like I'm having a hard time like finding decent reference photos, and I can only find them of one side of the prop. And I half expected, because it looks so bad. It looks like some, you know, housewife, you know, painted this thing. That when I flipped it over, you know, and finally did find that other side of the prop, it would say something like "live, love, laugh" on it, or something stupid like that. Anyways, like I hate the way that it's finished, and so I'm gonna go for more of an idealized look. Probably more in line with what like the Empire Strikes Back one is, where all the real parts are kind of more exposed, you know. That's why I ordered a stain grade stock instead of a paint grade stock. The paint grade stock is not as pretty a wood compared to the stain grade, and for the Return of the Jedi, you know, usually that's all you need, because you're going to paint it anyway. It's going to wind up all black and gray and orange, you know, so nobody cares. But I'm going to do a more traditional, like real gun finish stock. I'm just going to make it look a lot more real, you know, like you're going to be able to see the stamp on here. I'm not going to paint over the scope or anything like that. So that's kind of the idea behind my personal collection of props, is I want every single one of them to look real, not necessarily accurate to what the actual prop is or was. You know, you know, it's one thing if they painted it that way to read on screen, but it's one thing if it's sitting on my shelf and it looks like shit. Like, I don't like that. Like, it needs to look good. I need it to look so good that anybody could walk in and think, oh man, that's actually a real gun. I could pick that up and shoot somebody with it. That's what I want out of my props. You know, my lightsabers need to look like that. I can just pick them up and switch them on. That's what I want. I don't want that terrible paint job. So even if it is accurate, I don't care. I don't want it. I want it to look real. I got a few surprises and ideas that I'm going to be playing with along the way, a few experiments to see if they work out. So it ought to be an interesting build. I think I'm going to kick it off by fixing this stock. And what I'm going to do, actually I got this right here. This is a sheet of walnut veneer. I'm just going to use a very thin slice of this, and I'm going to, you know, wrap it in this recessed area and glue it up. And then it should fit a lot tighter at that point. It may not be tight enough. I might have to do another round or just one side of it or something like that. But I'm gonna fill in that gap and fix it. So that's where I'm gonna start off right now. Okay, we don't need a lot here. Okay. Slice me off a piece here. Ooh, I might have to soak this in water to get this to bend without breaking. Oh, yep. That was not satisfying as it sounded. All right, let me find some water. Okay. Just let that soak for a minute. It's more flexible already. It's only been a minute or two. It is a thin piece of wood. Alright, let's see if it's soaked enough. It's a lot more pliable. I think it's enough. Let's see, in order for me to fit this in there, I kind of got to cut it. So let's do this. Okay. There we go. We're going to form it, and then I'm going to trim it. I might have to add a little bit more down here and here, but that's fine. I got these little scrap guys, they'll fit. But I won't do that until later. Alright, I'm going to let that dry and form. And then once it's dried out and it's formed to that shape, I'm going to be able to use wood glue to basically permanently set it in there. And then I'll use some more scraps that I have here to fill in the other gaps that I've created and trim it off flush, and it ought to be good. I can always use it makes it a little wood putty. I can get a little sawdust. It's like some walnut sawdust. I got some scraps of walnut I can just chew up just to get the sawdust, and then mix it with some wood glue and fill that in any cracks that show up. That way it stains and takes any oils correctly that matches the wood already. So okay, it's been a few hours. Let's take a look here. It's snug now. Oh, there we go. That. Let me just get a little glue here. This thing is totally clogged up. Now we just let it set up overnight. Alright, that's enough for one day. That's kind of the kickoff video. I'm going to have a blog post on this on propchopshop.com. Check out the thread on the RPF. Hit me up with any ideas. You think I've missed something? Obviously let me know, because that does happen. If you see something that I'm doing wrong, let me know. I'm not perfect. So anyways, yeah, I'll see you next time.